like the top 10 questions asked at interview according to ChatGPT.
Which, reading the list, felt like it was quite accurate, to be fair.
So, top 10 questions according to ChatGPT. Question number 1. We might try and use the egg timer because otherwise I feel we might go for about 15 hours on any one of these.
Yeah.
So try the Great Aunt egg timer and see how we go. See if we get stuck or not. Cat tries to kill sofa. So question number 1. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, I hate that question. I hate all of them, obviously, but that one particularly because it is so vague. What do you want to know about myself that my CV didn't tell you? And how candid can I be? And it definitely isn't an icebreaker question, even though that's the one they're going to ask at the start. It's the, you were nervous when you came to the interview, I'm going to make you even more nervous question. So I just hate it. What do you want me to say?
I think it's really... So I see it from the point of view of running an interview. I see the point of you need to start somewhere, and it's somewhere to start. But I think it's so vague. I've heard people answer those kind of questions with, I'm going to run through my CV for 30 minutes.
Basically, because that's what you think you have to do.
Yeah, and I've heard people also just say, I don't know, I like fishing. And
yeah,
it's really...
like, I'm going to give you something you haven't read.
The other really interesting thing, I think, which is something I've been trying to think about for interviews recently, is sort of accessibility. And so for when you're thinking about autism, from what I've seen, and I might not be 100% right, really open-ended, vague questions can be problematic because you don't know what the expectation is. And
completely. And you feel like you're being judged on it. You're sort of thinking, there are some unspoken rules that I need to obey to, and I have no idea what those rules are.
I think I don't quite know what you're trying to get out of it as well, other than now we've spoken and we've said some things, so isn't that nice? Particularly in the world of remote interviews, we've now said hello, but most of that, so in the face-to-face interview in the old days when you were sitting in the office with people, you've already met because you said hello, you shook their hand and you walked them into the building.
Yeah, you made them a cup of tea. You've got a small chat already.
Yeah, and for interviews online, most of it now, the first 5 minutes is, oh, are you muted? No, I'm muted. Hold on, my headphones don't work. So you've kind of already done that. So again, it's like, it's almost more interesting and respectful to say, oh, I noticed this thing on your CV. That sounded cool. Because people often put a little interest thing to say, oh, you like fishing, that's cool, tell me a bit about that, that sounds fun. Or, I mean, it doesn't, but anyway. I don't know, so I kind of see why it's there, I just don't think it's useful.
I agree, it's completely useless. I've had some people trying in a remote interview environment, trying other kind of icebreaker, which was let's talk about the weather, which absolutely doesn't work with me because I'm just like, they're just like, it's raining. I'm like, yeah, it might be raining by you. Yeah. I don't live in your living room. I don't know.
There's
I also don't care.
There's a certain level of Britishness required to respond to what's the weather like as an icebreaker.
No, it's not about Britishness. It's first start, I've got a fucking passport. There was no question on that on a citizenship test. But it's people using the weather chat as thinking this is going to be a common ground. A common ground for what exactly? I mean, I also have BBC weather, so I can also tell you about the weather if you want in detail. But those people don't live in the same place as I do, so what's the fucking point? And then it's like, it's cold. Oh, fucking no, it's November. Yeah, it's cold. Well done, you.
Someone asked it me
I now realise you're a stupid interviewer.
Someone asked me that recently on a call, not an interview, but a sort of similar-ish circumstance. And said, oh, what's the weather like by you? And it was nicely intended. But
if I realised that is different.
But I realised it really sort of annoyed me because I ended up replying with, I've got no idea because I've been sitting at my desk all day since 8 o'clock this morning and it's now 5 o'clock at night. I haven't had a break yet and I don't actually know.
Yeah.
And so even though it was nicely intended, and normally I'd answer that quite nicely, I was obviously just grumpy at that point, but it's like...
No, for me, that's not the grumpiness for me. It's just, that's me being nice.
That's your normal...
That's my normal niceness. And I don't think it's rude. I just think it's an incredibly stupid question. It's like we are IQ minus infinite at that point when you ask that.
So I think at this point, I'm sorry, just keep tapping the phone because it keeps timing out. But I think we've done question 1 now. I think, tell me about yourself, and we've gone through from there to the weather. So I think we've probably covered that one. It's not our favourite.
No, it isn't. Of the 10 questions,
Of the 10
Chat
questions
GPT
ChatGPT
ticked.
recommends, which realistically is what everyone's going to be asking at interview.
Yeah,